Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Today we're going to be reacting to a video titled How the American Dream Died Over 45 Years. Now, he lays out a bunch of quick points, and when I saw the video, I was like, I don't even know what he's talking about. So I did me a little quick little research, and then we're just going to dive into each one of the points that are laid out so we can get full clarity, and then after that, I will give everybody a solution to these problems. All right. So without further ado, let's react, family.
How did the American dream die? How did the middle class die? I'm going to tell you, it started in the 1980s with trickle-down economics that did not work. They decided to give tax cuts to the rich and corporations saying that money would trickle down. It didn't. It just made the rich richer. Then we green.
So, what is trickle down economics? Trickle down economics is the theory that tax breaks and benefits for corporations and the wealthy will eventually benefit everybody. And this has been how America have been getting down. Just a real quick, how much has Elon Musk received from the government? Mind you, this is already a rich man, but you understand the rich get richer. Elon Musk companies have received at least 38 billion in government funding through contracts, loans, subsidies, and tax credits. So that's kind of showing you the effects of trickle down economics. Now the question is, because Elon Musk got 38 billion dollars, does that mean that me and you benefit from said 38 billion dollars? So let's go on to the next point. And like I said, we're just going to be breaking down each and every point that he lays out for us so we can get some form of understanding.
Greenlit stock buyback. So instead of when the productivity was going up, instead of giving workers more money, they just bought back their stocks so the shareholders could make profit and the executives could get bonuses. Then
So stock buybacks, like I said, bro is just saying stuff, and it's like, what is you even talking about? Stock buyback is when a company buys its own outstanding shares to reduce the number of shares available on the market. And from my understanding, that's sort of like where if you had, let's just say, a good company, and just say for instance they had high profit, that would give them an opportunity to do. Used to work at a company where they did profit sharing, and it was lit because like at the end of the year, like whatever however much the company made, they divided it by the workers because the workers is doing a whole bunch of work for the company, so why not give it back to the corporations? What some companies do is that they buy back its own profit, and so it just looks like they haven't really made as much money as they actually did, because what does that create? Tax breaks and things of that nature. As we stated earlier, the rich get richer and the poor don't get them. Good thing.
Then we had leverage buyouts, and the government didn't regulate leverage buyouts, and that was the start of private equity basically buying up everything so that they could make more money.
So leverage buyouts. And at first he's like, what is a leverage buyout? But you ever went to Joann Fabrics or you ever went to Toys R Us, this is an example of a leverage buyout. So leverage is saying, I want to buy this company, even though I don't have the money, I'll just buy it off of leverage. And it's like a systematic process of assets that companies can act like they have or realistically have, or I got 2 million in the bank. Now I need a loan for 20 million so I can buy this company or buy this property. But the funny thing is, they don't even be having the money. So the people who bought Joann Fabrics, they bought it off of leverage. The people who bought Toys R Us, they bought it off of leverage. And instead of building the businesses up, they just borrowed so much money that the companies just went into like total default. And now ain't no Joann Fabrics, ain't no Toys R Us. And the funny part, which you'll get into later in this video, is that all of this shit is done off of leverage. So it's like you might be trying to work hard to make a lot of money while the corporations and businesses, they either doing it by government stimulation or through leverage. You feel me?
which essentially just took the responsibility and accountability of the company to take care of the workers with the retirement and put it on to individuals. But we were never taught economics in high school, so how the fuck are we supposed to know about compound interest and investing? But they said the 401k was better than the
Like, we never knew what to invest in, what not to invest in, mutual fund. And then at the end of the day, Lord forbid you lose that job. What's the first thing people going to do? I'm going to cash in my 401k. You cash in your 401k. You stop working at 65. What will you, if you've been living check to check all the time, that all the way up to 65, and you ain't got a million or two or three or four put away, you might as well just keep working and not retiring, because it ain't nothing happening for you, my boy or my baby.
pension when it wasn't. Then they started shipping our jobs overseas, building the middle class of other countries so that they could make more profit, destroying the middle class here. Then we started.
Now, let's look at how many jobs, while the impact of offshoring of American jobs is significant, estimates vary, but some sources suggest that millions of US jobs have been offshored with potential for greater losses in the future. So, just like maybe your granddad worked at the factory or the plant, what your ass doing? DoorDash, right? Because all the jobs that created, homes and vehicles and lifestyles, them shits is in Mexico and in Asian countries, Central American countries, African countries. We sitting around here talking about, you know what I'm saying? I drive for Lyft, DoorDash, you know what I'm saying? No shade, but it's much different.
Ramping up the borrowing money and getting into debt as a country, which devalues our dollar. And then in 2008, we had predatory lending, which crashed the housing market, fucked over so many Americans. And then we used taxpayer money to bail out the banks. And when all the houses were cheap, the rich went and bought those.
This is the thing about these talking head videos that I cannot stand for the life of me, right? Tax money and the facts that we live in a fiat currency. The fiat currency creates the inflation, which creates the American debt. If the money is worthless, so is your tax money. Like, our tax money ain't nothing. They're taking our taxes out because they can do it, right? Because they just take it. They take that money out just to make you think that if you get, you get the $400 take, $100 out of taxes, that ain't building no roads. That ain't building infrastructure. That money is nothing because the money is nothing. So everything that they do it because they can do it. We are under the illusion and the spell, which is fiat currency, which creates the inflation, which puts the whole country in debt. You know what I'm saying? You probably got what, 10K in debt, 20K in debt. The country is $37 trillion in debt. That's a whole different ball game, my friend. You dig me?
Those up. And that's when you started to see the rent start to increase around the 2010s into the 2015s. And then in 2011,
Now, what's crazy about this? What's the average rent for people in America? $2,100 per month. With all this shit, I'm definitely getting back on Backpage, man. It's not a game out here.
in 2011, we allowed super PACs to exist. So billionaires can now buy elections, and they use that money.
Like, this bro be dropping off so much information. It's like, what did you even talk about? You gotta do diligence on these TikToks. You feel me? Because he's saying it, boom, boom, boom. But what it's saying, right? A super PAC is a type of independent committee which may raise rather unlimited sums of money for corporations, unions, and individuals, but is not permitted to contribute to or coordinate directly with parties or candidates. So that's the words. What does this actually look like? Well, who is this at the inauguration but Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, right? Some tech billionaires at the inauguration, meaning that because I'm a billionaire, because I made all of this money, now I get to make decisions in government. And if you ain't making no money, you don't make no decisions. You feel me? It's like that. So it's literally one solution for us in this particular time, because it ain't roses, it's real, and it's better to know it so you can like snap out of it and wake the fuck up. You feel me?
money on attack ads, which divides the country. Divide and conquer, and that's what they did. In 2020, we had the pandemic, which both sides of the aisle handled like absolute shit, shut down all small businesses, all the money.
Now, it's an article on the SB Council that said millions of small businesses closed in 2020. Like, it's probably one of your favorite restaurants, you feel me? Don't work, ain't open. You can't even go. It's a lot of things that have changed and is completely messed up now due to the pandemic.
Decided during the pandemic, let's lower the interest rates on buying a home to 2.5% to 3% so that people could refinance and get ahead. But no, all that really did was give the green light to a bunch of rich people to basically borrow free money and buy up all the fucking housing so that we can no longer own a home. And that all ended in 2021. Then we've experienced 25% inflation since the pandemic. And here we.
So, and that's one of the major points of like 25% inflation and also dealing with a fiat currency. We don't understand these things if we don't get our mind right. This shit, the way that the situation is not getting better. What are we really doing now in 2025 in reference to all of the shit that have been taking place for the last 45 years where the rubber meets the road and shit comes to the head? And, it's money that needs to be made, it's businesses that be formed, it's spiritual development that needs to take place, and you just sitting around being random. So, with all that being said, man, I just want to play one quick video to explain the inflation.
To prices being there. And you don't want this data, okay? Because inflation is really just measuring the difference between that. And if you look at those two lines, you're talking about a 2.3% change. That's the number we're talking about today. But for a lot of people, it's not about that. It's about the difference between this and that. And when you look at the difference between this and that, that's 20%. And I think that's the dichotomy here between these inflation numbers where it looks normal and this, which is really not normal at all. That's the cost of living crisis.
In reference to this fiat currency that lender is, it only can inflate. The dollar can only get weaker. And there are other things such as crypto. There are other things such as financial literacy, such as, understanding how to maximize your return in reference to through the modality of business accounting. Whereas we can, get into the latest and greatest Netflix shows, and that's all well, fine, and good. But are we going to just sit and not move because it's semi comfortable? The job might be working, it's a little shit working for us, but the pot is warming up and it been warming up for so long that we cannot be in this delusional state. And I'll do my best to inform you, keep you abreast as what's happening financially, economically. But part of your responsibility would be to join the Spiritual Business Academy. Link is in the description. A serious community of spiritual business entrepreneurs, artists, artisans, authors, spiritualists, readers, techies, whatever you do and you making money, part of your ethic should be to share wisdom to a community. And we just now starting, but in order for us to, make this thing be a thing, it would require you to, sign up. Like I said, link is in the description. Just now starting, got a couple of articles up already, but we're going to continuously build and explore a vast library of metaphysical, financial, literal things such as business accounting, everything in reference to business that we can learn, that we can apply, that we can share. Like I said, this is on Patreon. It's in reference to the initiates for the flame. Just hit the link in the description or patreon.com, Spiritual Business Academy, where, with all of this stuff going on in the world, you can have a way to fight back spiritually and ethically and financially. But with all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, share, comment any part of this video that struck a chord with you and how you plan on fighting back to the ways of the world. I'm Hood with another video. Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective, and I'll see y'all on the flip side.